God says vengeance is mine.
Right.
So it's not bad. He gets to do it though.
Right.
Truthfully, and this is where I think God's not just. Look what he did for us.
Yeah.
Like, we do not deserve to be saved like we were. We do
Right.
not deserve to have Jesus pay for all of our sins. That's not fair. That's not just. It's not just that it landed on one man, but that's his system. If I'm to be godlike and understand this example of grace, like your son did, I shouldn't want vengeance either. And the reason vengeance is his, I believe, is because he does love us all so much, every single one of us, that he does want every last person saved. And the reason he wants us to seek his heart and look like him and be the love that brings people to him, that brings true transformation through Christ, is so that people can be saved.
Right.
Not by us exacting vengeance. Hey everybody, welcome to the Red Ledger. I'm Denalee Bell. This is Lissa Frasure.
Hello.
Today we're talking about justice and injustice. All of us want justice. I believe it's innately in us to desire justice, fairness, but we don't always get it.
Right.
My husband likes to call me the justice warrior, the fairness warrior around the house. And I do. I like things to be right.
Yeah.
I like them for me, but I especially need and want it for the people I love.
Yeah.
I get really burned if somebody wrongs my children, even though they're adults. It was maybe worse when they were younger.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But the problem is with the world we're living in, it's a hurting and broken world.
Yeah.
And it's run by fallible humans.
Right.
And so we are going to see injustice. We've seen it since the beginning of the time with Cain and Abel, the Israelites with Pharaoh.
Right.
And even today we see human trafficking, racism, slavery still.
Yeah, slavery still. Yeah.
So I think that we need to learn how to deal with it.
Yeah, I agree.
Meaning me and you.
Yeah.
I'm just joking.
Yeah.
But we need to start by defining the word justice. I think anytime we have a conversation, I think we need to all be on the same page.
Right.
Because we have social justice warriors, right? We have people who want justice for different things that maybe our God and our belief system wouldn't find just. You know, I think in the world, I think it's unjust or unjust. What is it? Unjust? It's unjust.
Unjust.
Yeah. That we have normalized sin.
Right.
And made it okay.
Yeah, I think we need to have an understanding as Christians as to what God's justice is, what true justice really is.
So when I just look at the concept of justice, it encompasses fairness, equality, right? And that's kind of a worldly justice.
Right.
But God's word for justice is right and righteousness in the Bible. That's what the Blue Letter Bible said in the Hebrew or Greek. Anyway, that's what it says in Strong's, is that it is rightness and righteousness. And that is God. That's God's heart.
Right.
And our desire for justice is in our heart. I think he plants it in us, right?
I agree.
And it's why we see it. We see it within our justice system. It mirrors the Bible.
Right.
Or so we were told in college, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it is. I mean, you can see God's justice. I don't know if God's justice is like our justice system, because we want it to be impartial and fair and balanced, right? We don't want it to have any preference based on your race, your color, the amount of money you make. We want it to be the same for a rich person as the same for a poor person, right? And God does say that in the Bible, right?
Right.
We don't want to have preference over either, but love both.
Yes.
And I see that doesn't always happen.
In the kingdom of heaven, or the way God operates, it wouldn't be where he can be bought off. Where I've seen, some people bought off. Money can influence
Power.
You can get more lawyers, you can get better lawyers, and so not that people that do things pro bono aren't great. A friend of mine is an excellent lawyer, and he's a justice kind of guy. I love him, and he, I I know he's for the poor, he's for the meek, he's for the weak. But of course he's got to be paid for what he's doing on some level at some point. But yeah, I've seen the
and
injustices.
Jesus has called us to speak up for the poor and needy.
Yeah.
And so that is an excellent example of somebody doing that.
Yeah.
Somebody who maybe doesn't have the resources, but he has the talent, skills, and ability.
Yeah.
Standing up. We look at people who get away with things, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or people who want justice. And in the unjust, I saw covetousness, right? Or this greed, an oppressive quality,
Okay.
right? So you have somebody who's okay with being oppressing people in an unjust situation, right?
Yeah.
It has to be somebody with power and authority.
Yeah.
And uses their influence. So I think there's so many. We can look at our government and how they use our tax dollars.
Right. Yeah. It's great.
In the olden days, everyone just knew that they were probably not being good stewards of that. Today, it's a questionable thing, even with proof.
Right.
But there's an injustice in that, that I pay my taxes and it's not going to real things. It's not, it's going, and it looks like it's getting backdoored a lot to corrupt politicians.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
That's an injustice.
That's a big injustice.
So, and you think they're just going to quit doing it?
No.
In our current political climate, it looks like they're going to really fight for that power and to keep those dollars coming their way.
Yeah, that's what it definitely looks like that.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, it doesn't really bother them that we have to work till April or May. Is it May now?
Yeah. Just
to make all that money goes to taxes.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to them.
They're not going to give up that power.
No. When you have that power to relinquish it, it I think takes a lot.
And politically, you can see the fight happening
real
time,
totally can.
On social media. I haven't been watching it because it does anger me at a deep level.
Yeah, it does me too.
Because it's wrong.
Yeah, it's
wrong. And there's not much I can really do about it. I can complain. I can speak up.
And the best place that we can do things is on the state and local levels. That if you really want to do something on the state and local levels in your community. That's and most people don't even have a clue who their mayor is, who their representatives are.
No.
Because
you want the head honcho, you want the president to fix it all.
Yeah, you want to.
But it really, I agree with you. I think a lot can change at a local level. My brother's involved in politics in Wyoming, and a lot has changed and does change because they do get involved.
Yeah, I learned my brother too was involved in politics locally here. And behind the scenes was my brother's position. And it's something that he is really good at. And he studies it. And he is well-versed and understands and knows what's going on. And one of the things that he's always said to me when I've had a gripe or a complaint is focus on the local level, focus on the state level, because that's what will end up influencing and changing. But you have to do it here.
Right. Because the correction can happen big up there, but it's easier probably to grab a hold of in a local election. I just want to read this to you, Proverbs 22:8. So it might bring you solace. Whoever sows injustice will reap calamity, and the rod of his fury will fall. That just brought me some peace today. When I was thinking about the injustice of the world,
Sometimes I wonder, one of the problems that I was having over the weekend with the injustice that we experienced was I was wondering, when is the justice going to occur? Because I didn't think it occurred. But through our conversation, I think it actually did occur.
Oh, that's going to be interesting to unpack.
Yeah, I think it already did occur to some level. Maybe not how I would have thought or how I would have seen justice prevail. And I don't even think how God wanted it to. I don't think it happened the way God wanted it to. But he's a just God.
And he will work it all out.
And he will, and he did. And there's still things to come. It's not over. It's not done. It's not done. I've heard that saying, I hope I don't get it backwards. You may have won the battle, but you may have lost the battle, but you didn't, or you can win the war.
Win or lose the battle, but there's still the war to you guys know. You're telling the wrong person. Yeah. I am known in my family for never getting one of those right.
Yeah.
I don't get a saying right.
I know.
I always
either.
I insert the word monkey a lot. I don't know.
I get them wrong all the time.
Yeah.
So this is one of them. Okay. So we may have lost this battle, but there still is a bigger war.
Right.
And that's
good.
okay. That's okay. There, I got it. I know what I'm talking about.
Let's do a podcast.
Let's put this out for everybody to judge. It's good.
Yeah, I can't wait. We were talking about how fun it is when there's an injustice. Or when they're...
And how it brings out the best in us.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think these are some of the problems we have when we're dealing with injustice, right? We want to see the finish line.
Yeah.
Or we don't understand why there's still injustice in the world.
Right.
And that is, it's a reasonable desire, right?
Uh-huh.
There's been injustice since the beginning of time. Like I said, Cain and Abel.
Yeah.
Right? We have the Israelites with Pharaoh. We have the current injustices happening now. And we also know the end of the story.
And I've had other people who are not Christians. Mm-hmm. They've asked me things like, well, why does God allow child abuse or, these injustices? And so, that's a whole other can of worms, but it's the same principle. Like they're seeing an injustice here and they want it to be corrected.
And I think with these social justice warriors and me, we want to see it righted.
Yeah.
And we know it can be, and it can't be that hard. Okay. So let's just say racism.
Okay.
It can't be that hard.
Right.
But the problem is you cannot legislate the heart.
No.
You can't force a heart to not hate.
Right.
You have to have a transformation.
Yeah.
And that only happens through Jesus.
Right.
So, and I think discipline, maybe you can change a heart through discipline. I don't know. I don't know that my heart ever actually changed towards anything until I met Jesus.
I think the Word and Jesus, who was the Word, who is the Word, that's what changes my heart because it's the forgiveness, it's the love, it's that's what's changed me.
So if I look at the last few years where we have really been talking about racism all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. And in my view, but I'm not somebody who's living with racism, it seemed to have been getting better from when I was a child.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And now it seems like it's getting worse again.
Yeah, I agree.
And it makes me sad. And I think the problem was if I were to choose how to fix racism, is it's like people were trying to force people to change instead of changing their heart.
Right.
And you can't, it's like bringing people to Christianity. You can't beat them over the head with this Bible.
No.
That's why they call us Bible thumpers,
right.
is because I think we do it wrong sometimes, right?
I agree.
We just know this is truth. There's freedom in here. You don't have to live in this bondage. I've done it.
Yeah.
Just do this. Use this word.
Right.
And they don't want to hear that.
No.
They want to be loved. And
they want to be loved
changes.
for how they are, but and that's okay. You should be loved for how you are.
Yes.
But the way you're behaving doesn't necessarily exude love or is love, or it might need to be a behavior that is changed. And so you have to be welcoming or open to receiving the Jesus change, the change that he brings, the change that corrects that instead of standing so firmly in whatever it is that you're standing in.
Exactly. And so I don't think anyone wants to join a club where people are hating and condemning them.
No, to the point of I have some family members that we don't align politically. And I'm okay with it. I really, I'm okay with diversity.
That's not the bigger picture.
That's I don't care about that.
We all kind of want the same thing. I think we just disagree on how to get it.
Yeah, I agree there. And so this person really attacked me all the time because did not like my perspective or view. And I thought to myself, why would I ever join your team? you are treating me so awfully and so poorly.
Yes.
And
if you are representing this side,
yeah, I don't want to join
part
that.
of it.
I don't want to be any part of it. No. If that's, I mean, it's one thing to bring to, hey, Lisa, did you know that, your view on this, you might want to consider another view, a different view, XYZ,
Right. But not you're a,
you're a this or a that, I was
you
called
don't agree with
names.
me.
You're a stupid
and
conservative.
both sides do it.
It was
politics.
totally.
Like both sides have names for each other. We all know what they are.
Yeah. And it was just, one of those moments where I thought, I will never join.
No.
Just based on this. Why would I join this?
So as Christians, let's pay attention.
Well, that's what kept me away from Jesus.
Yes.
I remember in high school, it was after high school. I was at my parents' house in this small town, and there was a wedding that was being held at their house. And at that time, I smoked, and so I was in their garage smoking away from the party, away from all these people. And this person comes in and sees me smoking and says, you're going to hell because you do that. And I was like, And I said to the guy, which this is not nice, but I said, well, I guess I'll see you there since you're judging me. I was pretty witty and quick, but, I wasn't going to hell because I was smoking.
No.
I was going to hell because I never chose Jesus.
Yes.
That's why, because I was afraid of Jesus, because of people like you that kept me away from him, that had all this judgment and condemnation that you put towards me because I didn't align the way you did.
And what's the word tell us?
Right.
We come to Jesus because they love the love of God, the love of Jesus. That's why we come to him.
Yeah.
And why wouldn't we do it different than him?
Right. I don't want to do it different than him because I want to be as fruitful as he was.
Yes.
I want to be.
Because that's the goal of Christianity. Like, we don't just get saved. Well, I did for many years. You just get saved and then you do life.
Yeah.
But as I grew closer to God, I realized I'm getting free of some stuff here.
Yeah.
There's some bondage that I am not living under anymore. There's a freedom here. And I want my entire family. I want everyone I know.
Yeah.
And then the more you learn, and then I learned a little bit more about hell.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I don't even want my worst enemy to go there. Like,
No.
I can't even think of anybody I would want to be separated from God like that, to not have a choice, to live an eternity not with God.
Well, I never had that concept. I mean, it was thrown at me. It was thrown at me a lot that I did not belong. I was completely rejected. That was thrown at me a lot. So I knew I was totally rejected. Like, okay, I gotcha. I'm not welcomed. But I did not have an understanding of what hell was. I didn't understand that it's the absence of God. It's the absence of love. It's
Air,
I
breath.
hear people say, I think we're living in hell here on this earth. Okay, well, there's light. So no, we're not.
No.
There's light, there's water, there's air to breathe.
There's hope.
There's hope.
Yeah.
There's love. So no, we're not living in hell. It might be tough at times for many, for a lot, but we're not.
Another reason we want people to know Jesus as Christians is so that they can have hope and light and love and live the abundant life that he promised us when we say yes to him.
Yeah.
So if we're going to deal with injustice, we want to keep that in mind. Right?
Yeah.
We want to keep in mind that we're representing Jesus, that we're bringing people closer to him, not pushing them away.
Right.
And I think that is a problem for me when I react and respond. Like, there's an emotion I get, especially if you mess with my kids.
Right.
So for instance, we did a podcast. There's been a few podcasts and they'll pick on me, and my son's on many of the podcasts. And I'm just like impressed that I have this young man who would even want to do a podcast with me and talk about Jesus.
Right.
So like, everyone just clap your hands for him. Like, do not ever say anything bad about him.
No, he loves the Lord.
He does.
And he's so eloquent with his words, and he's growing just like all of us.
Yeah.
I don't know how you could.
I know, but they do. They find a way to say something on occasion. I'm so grateful. They usually pick on me. Okay.
But now there's two mama bears.
Yeah. So watch out. No, I mean, I guess you're free after this one. You'll see why, I'm not going to respond and anger anymore.
Yeah.
But I mean, and I do think there's righteous anger, but there are, there's times when you get internet trolls who say really just rude, disrespectful things. It's not constructive criticism. It's it's not a correction. I can even take a harsh correction.
Yeah.
I don't like just cruelty.
Yeah.
I don't like you being mean. And, my son's a bit of he's got a little bit of that warrior in him too, because it seems like I don't really care if they come after me as much.
Right.
And he doesn't really care if they come after him as much, but both of them kind of get angry when it's the other one being attacked.
Totally. Yeah.
And you do develop kind of a thick skin for this.
Yeah.
But I'm protective of my guests. I'm protective of my son.
Yeah.
It takes a lot to come on here and put yourself out there and share your story.
For sure.
It's hard. It's hard, like physically thinking about how you look. It's hard about like being worried you're going to say the wrong thing and offend somebody.
Yeah.
And the internet's crazy. They can be mean.
Yeah. And now it's recorded and it's out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I might change my view, just so you know, on some things, because I changed my mind on capital punishment recently.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, like, give us some grace.
Yeah.
But also, I do understand how in the heat of the moment, I can get emotional and charge off and type off some things that are not so nice.
Yeah, I didn't have the ability to type what I said, so I couldn't backspace or delete recently. So I understand, because it was an attack upon my son, and now I didn't say, this past weekend, I didn't say anything that I regret. I would say it again. I'm very comfortable with what I said. Now, my tone and my attitude behind it was very mama bear, harsh, or, because there was some wrong going on against my son. And I wasn't interested in sitting and watching it anymore. I thought to myself, how did Mary sit while her son is just being shredded? How did she I've watched The Passion of the Christ. I've watched the series, The Bible. I think it's from A&E, or I don't know, but I loved it. It was there's like 10 of them, 10 different. And that one wasn't as gory or brutal as the Passion of the Christ was. But I don't, it doesn't matter how many times I've watched it. I don't make it out of there going, stop, just stop. It's so, I'm so thankful for what he did, and I'm so thankful for that, but it's brutal. It was awful.
And scholars will tell you it was even worse than that.
Yes. There's no way if I being a friend of Jesus, because I'm his friend now, and there's no way unless he looked at me. If he looked at me, then I'd probably be like, okay, I'm sorry, Lord. But I would want to say, take your hands off him. Stop. I don't know that I'd be able to keep my mouth shut, which is, and I know that's not right, because he was doing what he was sent to do.
Right.
I understand that, but I still, it's
hard to watch somebody in pain.
Yeah, it is.
And
it's not easy, which is selfish, right? That's selfish.
Well, it's selfish if we're not praying to God, right? And we're not doing his will.
Right.
If we're doing our will.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And I think that's where we need to check our heart. What's our motive? Is it to relieve some pain for us? Is it to exact vengeance? Is it to get revenge?
Right.
And or is it because we're doing the will of God?
Right.
And I think those are all choices. And we, there's consequences to all those choices.
For sure. And, with what I went through this weekend, we had prayed and talked about it. And what are we going to talk about next week? And when you got the word justice, I was like, oh, cringe. You're like, what do you got, Lisa? And I'm like, not that. But I agreed that was, I was like, yeah, that sounds right. Oh, I wish it wasn't, but it sounds right. It was like one of those, I've heard don't pray for patience because of what you go up against. And so it wasn't that I was praying for justice, because I wasn't praying. I just knew that was going to be something that we had to talk about. And I was like, okay, so there's potential for injustice. Or at least in my perspective of what I think is being,
Well, God is so faithful in giving us content.
Yeah, he really is. He really is. I can just expose what's going on in my life for people to judge. Here you go.
Please don't judge. And here's the situation that we've got is we are imperfect people trying to follow Jesus the best we can. And sometimes I don't do the best we can, to be honest.
Yeah.
But the idea is that we're kind of all in the same boat.
Yeah.
There's nobody really perfect out there but Jesus.
No.
But the point of sharing our imperfections with you is, one, to see that, okay, we can help each other out. Like, you can learn from our mistakes. You don't have to go down this road, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully you don't go down this road, and hopefully that you can learn.
Or you hear yourself in our story and you want to correct too.
Yeah. With what happened this weekend, we went to my son's final. We didn't know at the time that it was his final baseball of the season, but we went to the other side of the state to go watch. They were in their super regionals. When I heard super regionals, can I just say I thought of dodgeball?
That's funny.
I was like, listen, Cotton, we gotta
get a super regionals.
We gotta go to super regionals. Okay, so we made it to the other side of the state, and we had some issues with my son and playing. Mm-hmm. And I'm not one of the crazy parents that's like, my son deserves a ribbon and a trophy for everything. No, I believe in fairness and merit. And I know how hard my son has worked. And I know what he has done. And I know that he is a good ball player.
And I will add, this young man is ranked. It's not like she's just saying, oh, my kid deserves to play.
No, he's ranked.
He's good.
He's good. And so because my husband and I had to step in and say something, we're wondering if there was retaliation. I'm going to show you parents. You don't come to me and question my authority, my decision-making process. And you have that right to do that. You most certainly may do that. And we encouraged our son. Our son did go and do. I mean, we followed the proper channels. Right. It was the Matthew 18:15. Go yourself to your brother if they've sinned against you. You say that. Then you bring other witnesses. Well, he's still my son. And as a child, I mean, he just barely turned 18 less than a month ago, and he's still in high school. So it's my job to still follow through with some of these things. And so my husband and I, we did follow through. And as we were over here, the first game happened and they won. And my son never played. And that was okay. Okay. And so my husband's like, well, he'll play in the next game. And I was thinking, no, he's not going to. I didn't say it. I just thought it. And so I was already starting to percolate, like get a little mad about it. And so the next day came and they played their game. And I know in my heart that my son was supposed to play. I know he was supposed to. And he didn't, because the regular catcher that they have been using, he actually is coming off an injury and was still injured and was not even able to run full speed and, because he was still limping. And so I thought, okay, for sure they'll use him to kind of ease, which they should. I mean, that's why you have two catchers.
I don't want to put this out there, but your son is also ranked higher than this kid, right?
Yes.
Like, substantially. I'm not saying that to be mean to the other kid. I'm just saying that to show that there's actually an injustice here and you're not a crazy baseball mom.
No, I'm not. And, even if it's okay if people think that. Yeah. But that is not the case.
Yeah. They can still learn. You can still learn the lesson if you think she's crazy.
Yeah, you still can. And so I thought, okay, so he got to bat one time. My son did. And he gets up there, he bats, and the bat completely breaks. And I'm like, well, this is indicative of the season.
Wow.
This is really interesting.
Wow.
And so, and it was a good hit. It was a decent hit. It was a single. He made it first. And so then they pulled him off, which was wise because a lot of times he'd get into a pickle and then get caught. So he shouldn't be running. So they should pull him off for that. Anyways, and so then nothing ever came about. He never played. He never hit again. He never did. And I'm like, now I'm starting to boil and I'm starting to get mad. And I'm looking at my son and he's still going and getting the bats for the boys. He's high-fiving them after each inning. He's still encouraging. He's still doing all the things. And I'm just sitting there going, are you kidding me? So they lose this game. And I'm like, now we got to play one more because it was a double elimination. And so they got to play one more. So I'm thinking, there is no way that he's not going to play. I have prayed for this boy. I am I pray faithfully for him. Mm-hmm. And the injustices that have already occurred this season, I'm like, Lord, you have got to come through. You got to come through on this. Like, I believe in the word and I speak the word over my son and I speak your word and there is power behind it because I have faith. So, okay, I'm going to watch you show up. And then there's this check again in my spirit. It ain't happening. And I'm like, So I see Cooper standing in the dugout and he looks over at me and he's like, I'm not playing. And I was like, oh my, and I'm so mad. Mm-hmm. I am mad because I'm seeing this other kid who's injured out there playing.
Which is not just to him either.
No, it's not. And I'm thinking, why are we doing this? What is the point? And I'm thinking, Lord, what am I missing? What did I miss? How am I? Okay, I don't even get this. And so now I'm mad here. And I'm like, and me and Denalee, we talked about justice. Here we go. Here's the justice thing. And so I'm upset. And there was a gal that came over, and this season did not really engage with the parents. And it's not because they're not nice. They are nice people. I just was being removed. I just did not feel comfortable and wanted to just be kind of by myself. So I didn't know who this gal was. And she came up to me and my husband, and she says, I think we should say something. Are you going to play the seniors? And I was like, oh. And then she mentioned her son's name. And I was like, oh, okay. And I go, oh yeah, her son's not playing. And I'm realizing that there's a couple other kids that hadn't played either. And so there's multiple seniors that haven't played. And we are about to end the season. And so not only are we going to end on a loss, but now we're going to end on them not even being able to play.
Right.
And my son actually got more playtime because he had one up to bat. So I'm like, okay, I'm trying to be grateful for this moment. Because what's the saying? If you're grateful, then you can't be mad.
Right.
So I was really going back and forth with, okay, I'm grateful. And so it was fake, right? It wasn't true. I was not really being grateful. I was just trying.
You were trying to be who you were supposed to be.
I was trying. I was making the attempt. And so when this gal said, let's say something, and I'm thinking, yeah, go ahead, say something. I'll back you up. Because normally I'm the person, people say, hey, Lisa, go say something. And I'm the person that will.
Yeah, you're bold, and you will speak up for the people who need speaking up for, which is part of what we're called to do.
Yeah, I will do that. But sometimes I sit back and go, okay, your turn. And I'll follow you. And anyway, so nothing happened, but there was another mom that said something to me. And this is where this is where I did not handle it well, because now the anger was coming out. Mm-hmm. And I was directing it at this parent who I know is in good with the coach. Mm-hmm. And so now I'm going, because you're a favorite, you get this. Whether that's right, wrong, or indifferent, it doesn't matter. I shouldn't have done that, right? And I know that's not right. But what I said wasn't wrong. I said wasn't
incorrect.
Wrong. It wasn't incorrect. But how I went about it was completely incorrect, because I wanted to have justice for my son.
Right. I want to unpack a few things that you said.
Okay.
Let's say, because we can't know for sure the coach's heart.
Yeah, I don't know the coach's heart.
So let's just assume you're correct and this is retaliatory behavior.
Okay.
This is the problem, right? This is where you have the injustice. We have an oppressive leader, and you can have this in a church.
Yes.
You can have this anywhere. An oppressive leader who wants the power or wants whatever. In this scenario, let's say everything you said is true and we know it for sure.
Right.
This coach wants to maintain his power, and he's going to put you in your place.
Right.
And so he's going to punish your child.
Yeah.
See the injustice?
And it's the same with the other. Right. This is why I put that together, was because there was others who had gone forth and said something. And so there's kind of a pattern there. And I've seen that with other leaders in different areas, in churches, in businesses, in boyfriends,
Yes.
And
It can be anywhere.
It can be anywhere.
Yeah. Where there is, and this is where injustice occurs, right?
Yeah.
We have an oppressive leader who doesn't want to lose power, maintain power.
Yes.
We see it, like we said earlier, in our politicians, and I just keep seeing this Epstein thing. It just keeps coming to my head.
Yeah.
Of where we have this women who are now women, they were children,
Yeah.
who were marketed to rich and powerful people.
Yeah.
Right? And they want to maintain their power. So they're going to punish anyone who brings this up. Apparently, the Maxwell lady, she gets to go to jail, but none of the offenders are
Where
seeing,
are the offenders on that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Where
So we're
are
not
they? And
seeing
I
the
don't care
justice.
who they are. I don't care what side of the aisle they're on.
No.
Not to expose
I'm sure
them.
it's on both.
Expose them.
I'm sure it's on both is
Yeah.
why it's not come to light. It's the oppression, and it's that power that people don't want to let go of. And the reason I keep bringing this up is we don't want to become oppressors. We don't
No.
want to, as we gain power or influence in any way of our life, even, as a mother, as a wife, because as women, if you're a woman watching this, we have great influence over our husbands, over our families.
Uh-huh.
And how do we want to wield that power and influence?
Right.
Right?
Well, and you can influence as a leader. You can influence and actually have more power through grace, because look at Jesus.
Yes.
Look at Jesus.
Yes.
The power that he had with over demons.
Mm-hmm.
His presence, they scattered.
They scattered.
They didn't want to stay in it. That was just his presence. It wasn't him like getting fistful or getting angry, or it wasn't like that. He was very, he did cast things out. He did, when he cast the out of the 7 sons of Sceva. Was that where it was? No.
Jesus cast the demons in the herd of pigs. They'd been previously with the 2 men. The demons had been previously in 2 men.
Yeah. That's not what I was thinking, but I was thinking of Jesus being with the men, and he cast. It's not because he started flipping things. He started being aggressive and angry. It was just by his words. It was just by his presence, his grace, his demeanor, and it forced it forced them to change their location. Mm-hmm. They had to change their location.
So the presence of Jesus changes everything.
Changes everything.
Whether that be in us, and I think of your son when you said this, how he was out there high-fiving everyone. He wasn't getting to play. He probably knew he'd been robbed, right?
Yes,
and
for sure.
he was still out there high-fiving, cheering on his team, doing the right thing.
Yes.
Right?
Yes,
and
he
being
was.
full of grace.
Full of grace.
Just like, I'm not saying he's Jesus, but I'm saying using Jesus as an example because he's been given grace. He was given grace, is what you had said to me earlier.
Yeah, that's one of the things, because I was so upset because I saw his face. Mm-hmm. He was devastated. This is his sport. This is what he wants to do. He was absolutely devastated. And I'm just shaking my head going, I don't see any justice in this whatsoever. No. And being involved in baseball and other sports and knowing how sports work, like, I don't know where we missed it, why you can't play. I don't know. And I'm watching this injustice. And when I see my son, afterwards we were talking about it, and I was like, mad. And I'm telling him, why are you being nice to these people? And he's like, Mom, God has shown me so much grace. I have to give it back. And I was like, oh, geez.
And when you told me that the first time, what hit me was, oh, we've got an oppressive leader. We probably don't have a lot of believers. This is on a public school team.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
This might be the only Jesus some of those people see.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what an opportunity for God to change a heart, because that's where it happens. Even at Calvary, right? Mm-hmm. This is where hearts were changed. Even the soldier who had tortured and mocked Jesus came to believe after his grace when he says, forgive them, God. They know not what they do.
And you and I were talking about this, and it takes Jesus to change the heart.
Yeah.
And in 1 Samuel, it talks about David's heart was changed, not because David changed it, the Lord, it specifically says the Lord changed David's heart. And I was telling you this, that my son last year at 17, he had the opportunity to go to Uganda, Africa on a missions trip. I wasn't there. My husband wasn't there. I mean, he was so brave. But I was really like, can my son handle this? I mean, and he prayed and he fasted and he was very obedient to all the things that the leader had told him to do. And so he was great in his preparation. And before he had even left, there was a change in my son. And I know his heart was changed because I know the Lord changed it. The Word changed it.
Right. If we want to deal with injustice.
Yeah.
Okay. I think there's some very practical ways to do it. First of all, we reflect Jesus.
Yes.
Right? That's first and foremost. We got to change our mindset.
Yeah.
We reflect Jesus. We be Jesus. We be the light.
So you got to put on the whole armor of God before you go out.
Yes.
Get dressed. Don't go out naked.
Right.
Don't go out there exposing yourself.
Yes.
To put on that armor and be mindful, which is not what I did. I knew potentially what the challenge was going to be.
Because you already knew this was happening.
Yeah. And I had prayed. We had prayed. My husband and I had prayed. I know my daughter was praying. I know my son was. I even know my mom was. My friend who showed up, she was praying. But I don't know that I took the time to say, Lord, shut my mouth, or help me with my emotions, or help me with my unbelief. Because as I'm getting emotional about it and seeing this injustice, it's because I'm not believing that God is going to come through.
Or that he's sovereign.
Right.
Or that this is okay for your son.
Right. Right. That.
And I think this is the difference between, and I get trapped in this too, especially with your kids.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but that's that worldly mindset versus a kingdom mindset.
Yeah.
And, God has a big plan.
Yeah.
And I just keep seeing, I just keep seeing Jesus in this, obviously.
Yeah, right.
Just like him, it is finished. He went up there. He walked up in Calvary. His grace, love, and mercy brought people to God.
Yeah.
Your son's grace, love, and mercy over this whole situation is bringing people to God.
Yeah, for sure.
And even if it's planting a seed, yay.
Yeah.
Like,
Because
even if this was God's plan the whole time, yay.
The amount of parents that saw this, and it was uncomfortable for other people.
Yes.
They were uncomfortable because they were like, oh my gosh, they had so much compassion and they were seeing it. And I really hope that they reflect on Cooper and not necessarily his mom, who was emotional, which forgive me, Lord, and whomever else,
Well,
but
I don't know. Okay, so I'm going to have a quick sidebar on the emotions.
Yeah.
Emotions are emotions are useful.
Right.
Jesus wept. Jesus was sad and angry.
Yes.
Like, it's okay to have emotions.
Yeah,
right.
for
And
sure.
I think that the church gets this messy.
Yeah.
And I don't like it. I don't like it how it tells us we're not supposed to have emotions, because we are. They're indicators that something's wrong.
right.
Something's
well, the
wrong.
Lord knows who I am.
Yep.
And so as much as he has me do things, I have to be bold at times. He
Yes.
knows that boldness is sometimes going to go off the edge. And it
Yeah,
has.
And he knew it would.
He knew it would. And so I know I'm forgiven, and I'm not giving myself leeway to do that, because there is correction immediately that's coming upon me.
We don't abuse his grace.
No.
We learn from it.
No.
And we grow.
No,
right?
and I expose it online.
And you and I are not the same people we were 5 or 10 years ago.
No, I'm not.
Those mama bears, well, I'm embarrassed. I would be too embarrassed to maybe even share some of those stories at this point.
Yeah, for sure.
You think I'm making mistakes now. You should have seen me before.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So I really like this story because I like to liken it to Jesus' walk, right?
Yeah.
So there's empathy. That's the first thing Jesus does.
Yeah.
Right? He has empathy for whoever he's with, whether
Yeah.
it be Martha and Mary with about their brother Lazarus dying
Yeah.
in
John 11.
John 11. Mm-hmm. I can't remember that still.
Yeah.
Just talked about it a minute ago. Just a minute ago.
Yeah.
Anyway, and you see him having compassion with the woman at the well.
Yeah.
With the woman who is going to be stoned to death.
Yeah.
right? You see time and time again, Jesus going through these things where there's an injustice, because I just don't think it's just to stone somebody to death when they weren't stoning the men for the same thing. I don't think that's justice.
Right. No, totally. Yeah.
So, but he has compassion and love, and that's what he shows up with.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every time.
Every time.
Then he's always in prayer. So this is kind of my list of how we should deal with injustice, right? We develop a kingdom mindset, understanding that we're not going to have justice. Like, it doesn't come the end of the story. It tells us we're not going to see it. We're not going to see that. So we develop a kingdom mindset and understand that our plan might not be his plan, right? So Lisa's plan of her son playing and in that game didn't happen.
Not at all. And as you say that, here's the stark difference between the two of us. So my son was in the dugout and he was speaking in tongues to himself.
Praying.
So he was in prayer.
Yep.
And his mom is sitting in a chair stewing. Where was my focus? My focus was not on the Lord. It was on the injustice.
Yes.
And his was on the Lord. And that's why he was able to smile and wave. He was able to go pick up. He wasn't grabbing those bats and throwing. He wasn't. He's like a golden retriever, just happy.
Good.
And always happy
graceful.
to see everybody like, hey. Yeah. He'll push back when some of the kids or people push, he'll push back. He's not like that, but he was just happy.
And I understand where you were as a mom, and this is his senior year.
Yeah.
Like, I understand the frustration that this is his last game.
Yeah.
Or you didn't know it at the time.
I didn't. Well, I kind of did. I was like, but I'm thinking, you can't play these kids. I mean, we're losing. They've 10-runned us. Like, play them now. Who cares? Well, it's done.
And by the way, people, we get there's bigger injustices in the world. This is for an example.
This is an example.
Because we're going through it.
Yeah.
Like, she's just going through it right now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, so we went through it over the weekend. It's fine. It's done.
Yeah.
But
it's a good example of your son showing up like Jesus, having the kingdom mindset, having the empathy, being in prayer, and reacting with God in obedience.
Right.
I'm guessing, because that's what Jesus did, right?
Yeah.
He said, God, I don't know if I really want to take this cup. Are you sure? And God said yes. And he walked on.
Right.
Okay. Cooper could have said, hey, I'm not going to go and show up for this game because I know how this story ends.
Right.
He didn't. And he showed up.
He showed up.
He
showed up with a smile. He showed up with grace, and he
showed up for his team,
and he was willing to give it back. When the parents, as we're watching this injustice, are like, we're like, we got bigger fish to fry than to play this game,
right?
And this is just, it's dumb. It's dumb. Why are you doing this to kids? Like, this is to kids. This is leadership, and are you being a good steward? Are you being a good steward of kids? And that's kind of where our mindset was.
Because it was wrong.
Yeah. It was.
And it's okay. And God, we are called to speak out. Yeah. I think we have a scripture right here for just that occasion.
Yeah.
That I wrote in my many notes.
It was Proverbs 30.
Proverbs 31. Speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves, defend the rights of the poor and needy.
Yeah.
But here's what we have to balance that with. Prayer and timing.
Yes.
Meaning, okay, God, I know this is true. I know the word's true. So if you tell me to do it, I can do it. But I also want to have your permission to do it now.
Yes. Yeah, it's knowing his will versus my will.
Yes.
I did know that.
Because we can manipulate this.
For sure.
And say, oh, the word says this. This is my job.
Well, this is how I can tell the difference. My will was me yelling at this, we already tried that, whatever I said. Versus the way Jesus would not have handled that way.
He did flip a table.
He did, but he would not. I'm pretty positive.
No, probably not in this situation, but I get. But I'm saying Jesus flipped tables. Jesus walked in compassion. Jesus was calm. Jesus was mangry.
Yeah.
He had all of those emotions, and he did have all those reactions. But I will say this, not one time did he do one of those things without God's blessing.
Without God's blessing. I did not have God's blessing.
He did not flip a table without having God's blessing.
Well, maybe I had God's blessing. I don't know. I didn't seek it.
Right. See, that's the thing. In the hindsight, right? You can kind of see.
And I hear from the Holy Spirit. So, and I can check, okay,
I think
I
that's
didn't.
The importance is before we react. And I say this as, I didn't do this myself this week, reacting to my husband poorly.
Yeah.
And probably being an oppressive person myself in those moments. And, I'm not above that. So that's where, I'm at in this conversation. I'm speaking to myself.
Right.
I'm not speaking to you.
Yeah.
And it's in the reaction. And then is it vengeance in my heart? Like, do I want him to be punished or do I want him corrected? Right.
Yeah. I usually seek the correction. That's
just
my heart.
Kinder than me.
That is my heart. I want the correction. Because I don't want to be punished.
Revenge is different than vengeance to me. Vengeance, God says vengeance is mine.
Right.
So it's not bad. He gets to do it though.
Right.
He gets to do it. And truthfully, and this is where I think God's not just. Look what he did for us.
Yeah.
Like we do not deserve to be saved like we were. We do not deserve to have Jesus pay for all of our sins. That's not fair. That's not just. It's not just that it landed on one man, but that's his system.
But
that's grace.
Yeah.
Right? So there's grace in his system where the scales don't really equally balance.
Right.
And in our era. So if I'm to be godlike and understand this example of grace, like your son did,
yeah, like my 18-year-old did.
I shouldn't want vengeance either.
Right.
And the reason vengeance is his, I believe, is because he does love us all so much, every single one of us, that he does want every last person saved. And the reason he wants us to seek his heart and look like him and be the love that brings people to him, that brings true transformation through Christ, is so that people can be saved.
Right.
Not by us exacting vengeance.
Yeah. I'm pretty positive that if anybody knew I was a Christian there, it's because they were a relative or a friend of mine. And so I'm sorry and I repent for that. I mean, people saw that I was hurt and mad and
people saw you were human and you got corrected.
Yeah. And it's fine.
And you're going to be different next time.
There won't be a next time.
Well, yeah.
No. But yeah, there will. When I am presented,
you have a daughter.
I know. That's why I'm saying there won't be a next time. When I am presented with that situation, that scenario, or something like that, I now see how the other choice is better for me than this one. It's so much better for me to handle it in grace because I just have to allow that. It's like I think of the tornado. You've got the tornado and you got the eye of the storm. And if you're standing there and you can be there and you can look up and you can see the clear blue sky, but if you allow that storm to pass, that's when everything will settle and you can actually get a purview of what's really going on and what has been damaged and what hasn't and what can be repaired and what can't be. But if you're just like, if you just stay running with I'm not a storm chaser. I don't want to chase the storm. I need to allow it to pass. And I need to remain calm. We said this before, Jesus walking on the water in the storm and, Peter's out there. And when Peter got nervous, he sank. And the storm's going on and you've got the disciples in the boat and Jesus in the boat and they're waking him up. He's resting and sleeping in that storm. And I did not rest in that storm because I didn't think the Lord was going to come through for me or for my son.
See, this is the other thing. This is step number 6 in this, trusting that God is sovereign.
Yeah.
That it's part of the kingdom mindset, right?
Yeah.
That God is sovereign. And I think when we can find that place of rest, and I'm just saying as a theory, because I don't have this down either. Okay. As a theory, it seems like, wouldn't that place of rest be, oh, okay, I'm going to hang out with God here.
Yeah.
I'm going to rest in you. I'm going to pray with you. I'm going to seek you for my next steps. Because some people say, well, we should just pray about it. Well, yeah, but sometimes there's action involved too. Pray. We pray to say, hey, God, this is happening. We pour it out to him and say, hey, do you want me in this, coach?
Yeah.
Hey, do you want me in this, coach? Do you want me to take action? Do you want me to be quiet? And he'll tell you.
Yeah, he totally will.
He'll tell us.
Yeah.
But we can't really hear from him in that place of anger, right?
No, you can't. And
or I don't want to. I should say maybe you can. I don't know. I've never been able to do it. That doesn't mean it can't be done.
Well, and I believe that you have these opportunities for growth. I'm not saying that God presented this, but I am saying that God always gives me a way out of temptation. And I was tempted to be mad, and I was tempted to get into unbelief. Mm-hmm. And I did. I was in unbelief. It didn't turn out the way I had hoped. My son did not play in 3 games. He batted, but he did not play in 3 games. And they lost, and his high school career was essentially over with that. That's how it ended. But that's
not
just
the end of his story.
It's not the end of his story.
He's going to Arizona. He's playing. He's good. He's good. And the lessons he learned from this, the humility and the grace, and know how much his mom loves him, even though it was a mistake. He saw how much you loved him.
Yeah, for sure.
And you stood up for him.
Yeah, because I did say to him, do you want me to do something?
A mistake.
I don't know that it was. I think allowing my emotions to be.
I think the mistake was not praying first.
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm.
But I don't know that what you said or did was a mistake.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that it is either.
I wasn't there.
I don't think what I said was wrong. It was very correct.
Would you have delivered it better?
I could have
delivered it.
Yes, I could have delivered it better. Sometimes I have a tendency to be sharp.
Me too.
Sharp. And that can come across as combative.
Okay.
Because I essentially am combating what you're saying or doing.
Right.
Because I will challenge it because I don't have that fear.
Just because we believe for our son to play in the baseball game doesn't make it happen.
No.
Right.
And it doesn't mean that he's going to. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean I'm right either.
No, but it your beautiful son gave a huge testimony to who Jesus was.
Yes, he sure did. Even to me.
Yeah, and me. And I hope for the people who are watching too. And I think, like we said earlier, there's only one way to solve injustice, and I don't think we get to see that in this lifetime. We get to see that in the next one,
right?
Where there is no injustice, but we can change the world. We can change our world around us. And you know how you were talking about politics at a local level?
Yeah,
I think we do that with our heart.
Yeah.
When we change our heart and let Jesus invade us in every part of us, and we reflect him, it creates a ripple effect within our own family, which obviously has in yours.
Yeah, for sure.
And your son has leaped off your shoulders because, like you said earlier, I don't know if you said it in this podcast or another one, where, Cooper hasn't had all the years that you did and the programming to undo that you've had.
Right. He started at about 6.
Yeah.
Getting Jesus,
right?
Getting the word spoken into him. That started for me at 39-ish, 40. So
there's still undoing.
There's still a lot of undoing,
And he gets to leapfrog off of where you are now, which is the beauty of it, which is why we're seeing him shine.
Yeah.
It's why we're seeing him shine so much. And it's so
and
beautiful.
one of the justices that I do believe will happen is, I said, Cooper, when you grow older, when you have kids, I don't know, whatever it is that the Lord leads you to do with your life, if he ever has you coaching your child or other children, I guarantee you will take a softer approach. You will take an approach that is more inclusive, that is more understanding and more reflective of the Lord versus the world.
And this is how we change the world, right? Is by looking the heart change, but also by being better from watching those who didn't get it right.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, none of our parents got it right. We didn't get it right.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure my kids have learned how not to do things from me.
Right. Yeah. I know my kids got that one down for sure.
So I think, because there is so much injustice in the world, we need to pray about it and see, where do you want me? Like, if it's a cause, let's say it's human trafficking, maybe if that just makes you itch, maybe it's because you're supposed to be involved in helping eradicate that.
Right.
And it doesn't mean screaming on social media likely.
Yeah.
It might mean joining a cause.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
But it's again, pray. Pray and see where God wants you, but ask him specifically, do you want me in this fight? How do you want me to show up?
Right.
Because we are called to speak. We are called to walk with God and defend the oppressed.
Yeah.
We are.
And that is one of the things that I've, that has always been in the forefront and in the back of my mind is being a good steward of that which has been given to me. Mm-hmm. And these kids they're his first. Mm-hmm. They're his first.
Right.
And I know that. And so I'm honored to be their mom. And I know I didn't get it all right, but I know that I can say I've done my best.
Mm-hmm.
And when I didn't do my best, I repented. And I've even, I've apologized to my children. We've had discussions and I've said, I didn't get it right. And I hope you can forgive me. And I love it when my children say, Mom, I forgive you. And they hug me. And I'm like, okay, this is the time I want you to learn from what I did and make note in your heart. Don't do this.
Well, apparently
Be
they have
different.
learned because you have a son who has a great amount of humility.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah,
He's
he
good.
does.
He's really
and he
good,
knows God.
Yeah.
So, kingdom mindset, pray,
Yeah.
walk in obedience,
Yes.
forgive, mercy, and love.
Yeah.
I mean, those are the big examples. Jesus showed up on that cross and your son showed that day. Like, he's not angry. He has mercy and grace for the whole situation. And
Yeah.
I think we really work on getting closer to God and changing our hearts so we can change those around us.
For sure.
And that's how we change things.
Yeah.
And it doesn't happen fast. And I think that's the problem. People want
Instant.
They want things resolved. I mean, I do too. I'm not
Yeah.
saying I'm above that because I am. That's what I want. Who wants a child to suffer? Nobody.
Right.
Nobody.
No.
Well, that's not true.
Yeah.
That's not true.
Yeah, but I thought there would have been this, with the prayers that I had, and I thought, oh yeah, I'm going to see. Okay, we'll see. Yep, we'll see the glory of God out there.
We did.
I know, but not how I thought.
Isn't he always how he works out?
Yeah,
Yeah. It's never
and I
how we
love this
think.
lesson. I am so thankful for it,
Yeah.
and I'm so thankful to see Cooper that way. Like I'm like,
Praise God,
I'm impressed, and I'm impressed in his character.
I am impressed.
Yeah.
Like I learned from him. I wasn't even there.
I was like, I'm impressed by this kid's character. And God is doing something mightily in the children in this next age. When you see God working, when you see that forgiveness, when you see that understanding, that mercy, that grace, when you see that, it's so humbling and beautiful. And whether it's through your child, somebody else's child, and these young adults, I just am impressed. It gives me hope. It renews
doesn't
hope.
it? When the kids got it, like better than me, I'm like, okay, we're going to be okay.
Yeah, we're going to be okay.
Because it doesn't seem like it when you look outside.
Right. Yeah. No, it doesn't.
I just want to thank everyone for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe. It helps us. And next week, we are going to be talking about, on the podcast, my trip to the Dominican Republic that God told me not to take. And I went in disobedience, and the evil demonic spirits that I encountered. I had not believed that the devil was really a real thing before this point. And so we're going to share that with you and why you walk in obedience besides just the obvious.
Right.
God is trying to protect us.
That's right.
And look forward to seeing you then. I guess we don't get to see you guys, but look forward to your comments. Thank you for supporting us.
Thank you.